This is the first day of lesson 7.2. It's properties of rational exponents. And honestly, today we're not learning any new properties. We're just going to apply the properties that we already know using fractions. So I'm going to kind of run back through the properties quickly and then just do a lot of example problems today. So the first property is this: if you have a number to a power and another number to a power, so I have a base to a power and a base to a power, notice the bases are the same, then you add the exponents. So what we've done in the past is something like x squared times x to the third, and we said that's x to the fifth. And we know that's true because this is x times x, and this is x 3 times, so that would make 5. But what we're going to do today is change that so that we have the same base, but the exponents now are fractions. So I want to remind you then how you have to add fractions. So in this particular case, I have the same base number. So that means that I'm going to add the fractions. Notice the base number stays the same, just like here, the x didn't change. The base stays the same, but I'm going to add the exponents. And when you add fractions, you have to get a common denominator. And the common denominator of 2 and 4 would be 4. So that's already 1 over 4. But I have to change 1/2 to something over 4, so that would be 2/4. Because I take 2 times 2 to get 4, I'd have to take 1 times 2. So in this particular case, our answer would be 5 to the 3/4 power. Okay, let's look at the second property. The second property is a power of a power. So you have something to a power raised to another power. And whenever you have something raised to another power, you multiply. So this would be the same thing as a to the m times n. We've done that before with something like x squared to the third power. And we know that that's x squared times x squared times x squared, which is x to the 6th. So we know that we're going to multiply the power and the power. So let's do one where it's a fraction. So let's go 5 to the 1/2 power cubed. And this is just a reminder on how you multiply fractions. When you have a fraction times a number that's not a fraction, you can make the number that's not a fraction over 1. And when you multiply fractions, you multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. So this would be 5 to the 3/2 power. The third property is the power of a product. So you have two things being multiplied together to a power. And when that happens, you take each of those things to the power. And I'll do more examples of that one in a moment. Let's go to the next property, which is where you have a negative exponent. And we know that a negative exponent does not make a negative number. In fact, it makes a fraction. So this would be 1 over a to the m power. The fifth property that we've talked about is dividing, where I have a to the m power over a to the n power. As long as these base numbers are the same, you're going to subtract the powers. And we almost talked about them as if we were canceling, which would be true. Let's do one like that with a fraction. Let's say it's like 7 over 7 to the 1/2 power. So in this particular case, I'm going to have to subtract the exponents. Notice they have the same base number. So this is going to be 7 to the first power, subtract 1/2 power. And I know you know this is 1/2, but I want to remind you that when you subtract fractions, you have to get a common denominator. So I would turn this 1 into 2 over 2. So it'd be 7 to the 1/2 power. And we'll do more examples of that one as well.